Last piece to our division puzzle today is going to be dividing mixed numbers. Now I know a lot of you want to just divide all the parts, but that doesn't work because of the fact that we have to multiply by the reciprocal. Now the number one thing that I see is people wanting to say that 2 2/5, that the reciprocal would be 2 5/2. Well, I know that 5/2 is 2 1/2, which this means this would be 2 plus 2 1/2, which you're saying that the reciprocal of 2 2/5 is 4 1/2. But if I take 4 1/2 times 2 2/5, I'm going to get over 8, which does not give me my reciprocal value when I multiply a number by its reciprocal, which would give me 1. Therefore, 4 1/2 is not the correct value. So we're going to go ahead and give that a different shot by changing these mixed numbers into improper fractions. The way that works, because the 8 represents how many we need in the whole, we're going to go around the horn. We're going to take 1 times the denominator, which is 8, and then I'm going to add that to this, add the 7 to it, which gives me 15 over 8. And then I'm going to do the same thing over with 2 2/5. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12, so we get 12 fifths. Now I know a lot of you want to go, oh, 8 and if you're wanting to simplify ahead of time, you're saying, hey, well, 8 and 12 have a common factor of 4, and 5 and 15 have a common factor of 5. Unfortunately, because we still have this division here, that's not going to work. So we need to go ahead and keep our first fraction, 15 over 8, change multiply to divide to multiply, and make it 5 over 12. And then when I look at this, I can see that 12 and 15 can both be divided by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So when I go ahead and multiply this across now, 5 times 5 is 25. And 8 times 4 is 32. Now because I simplified ahead of time, I know this is fully simplified. And it's a proper fraction, so I can just leave it. Moving on to the next one. Negative 2 2/5 divided by 2 1/3. I'm going to go ahead and go around the horn. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. We knew that already because we just did that one in the last problem. Then we go 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we're dividing by 7 over 3. Then I'm going to go ahead and keep the first, flip the second, so negative 12 over 5 times 3 over 7. And there's no simplifying that I can do, which means that when I get my answer will be in simplest form, unless I need to change it to a mixed number. Negative 12 times 3 is negative 36. 5 times 7 is 35. And this is an improper fraction. I know 35 goes into 36 once, with 1 left over out of the 35 that I need remaining to make a whole. Going ahead and taking a look at the word problem that we've got here, we have a cookie factory. They use 1/8 of a barrel of oatmeal in each batch of cookies. The factory used 3/4 of a barrel yesterday. How many batches did they make? Well, we know this is a division problem. The question is, did we take 1/3, groups of 1/3 out of the 3/4, or did we take groups of 3/4 out of the 1/3? Being that the 3/4 represents what we used, 3/4 is our whole of everything we used yesterday. And we always want to divide our whole into parts. So therefore, that means I am going to take, for this problem, my 3/4 and I'm going to divide my 3/4 into groups of 1/8, because the 1/8, think of it as that 3/4 of a barrel, and we're scooping out 1/8 of a barrel every single time. So I know I could also draw a picture for this if I wanted to, but we're going to stick with just keep flip change for the time being. We keep our first, flip our second, and change the sign to multiply. And then I see that 4 and 8 are divisible by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2, which means 3 times 2 is 6. And this is 6 batches, because they asked how many batches did they make. That being said, you need to go ahead and complete these U-Try problems and bring them with you to class tomorrow.